Hello, everyone. Welcome to the podcast, the Contrast Podcast, with our inspires. Fuck, what is this word? Yeah, aspiring guest from Pakistan, Hemoon. Welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you. I'm very thankful to you to invite me and having this opportunity to talk with you.
Yeah, to
Thank
talk
you.
with both of us. Tarik is on the other side of the planet, but yeah, it doesn't stop us, from doing it.
Yeah, I think if hearts beats closer, so it doesn't matter where you are, where in which corner you are in the world you are. But
Exactly.
it's about the hearts and minds. If you have same ideas
That definitely.
and have something closer, so it's and distance doesn't matter.
Absolutely. But besides, I don't know, love relationships, like anything else, yeah, distance doesn't matter. But love relationship, at least in my opinion, that stuff, yeah, really plays a big role. What do you think about it?
I think in human life, love is only the magic thing. You can keep people closer. So I think when we are talking about love, it's not about the sex. It's not about the body contact, but it's also about the ideology and philosophy of your life and likes, dislikes, friendship,
Yeah.
and all about. So we are. I believe that we are the creation of love.
Yeah, that's a nice way to put it, So if you gotta encompass all of this particles that we have, all the factors such as friendship, I don't know, like partnership, we will find some neutral positions where by which this distance can be tolerated, and played out very well. So yeah, that's interesting. That's an interesting point, And
Yeah, but hey Moon, so it's my first time meeting you. Yeah, so could you tell me a little bit about yourself? Like where do you come from, and like how did you end up in China?
Uh, Thank you. I'm a simple person, and I belongs to Pakistan. My full name is Hemoon Kalani, and previously my educational background in from Pakistan, and if I start with my academic life, so I have done two masters. One of master in my local language. Actually, this language is very ancient and belongs to Indus civilization. Maybe you guys know about this. Mohenjo-daro and Indus civilization is mm, same like Chinese civilization or Mesopotamian civilization. And actually nowadays, rather other than Pakistan, India is more famous about these civilizations. One of this language, ancient Sanskrit language, is it belongs to Sindhi language. So I did my first masters in the language.
Wow.
And then I did again masters in education, and I started my job with journalism in Pakistan, one of the leading newspaper, local newspaper. I was sub editor. I started my job career with a sub editor, and then I joined the encyclopedia of the same language. I was a research fellow and editor of the encyclopedia Sindhiana, as we have Indiana, Encyclopedia Indiana, Britannica, and something like that. So it was the first encyclopedia of this language.
Wow.
And then I joined the teaching profession from the public school. We have a famous city in Pakistan, Hyderabad. So I started my teaching career from the public school, Hyderabad. It was founded in 1959, one of the oldest institution in the region. And then I joined Sindh Madrasatul Islam University as a lecturer in 2015. So this is the institution where all cream, I think, of current Pakistan and during the British time of India, the all famous people like Muhammad Ali Jinnah and like our late Prime Minister Zulfikar Ali Bhutto's father, and many legend people studied there. So this was founded in 1885. This institution is the oldest institution. So I started my job as a lecturer there. I was performing my job, and my services is for Sindhi language, which I done my master's before. So then I moved to China for my Ph.D. studies here in Comparative International Education in 2019, last year.
Wow, that's a
Now
great
I'm
topic.
at Young University,
Yeah.
I think one of the best university in the world, and also in China. So I have a good kind of atmosphere here, good friends. Like this experience really fascinating me at this time. It's really quite impressive talk. And actually, on this campus, we have a lot of opportunities, a lot of international atmosphere, many international friends. So
See,
this is like a colorful candle where we can see all kind of colors of the world.
but every student get burned down. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's the top university, so it requires very much expectations from us, the students. So I think
Yeah,
this
definitely.
is because of us. We are because of this. So this kind of
Mutual.
things we have.
You know,
But I think
I was just waiting for this moment, and like in 2019, I just got this Nobel Prize. You know, Nobel Prize.
we
So great
wish you
environment.
best of luck. I think you can if you continuously doing the same. You can one day. I believe you.
All right, no, that's very inspiring. But you touched a lot of points, you know, from language to education to this comparative education. So it's like you basically, in just 5 minutes, describe the theme of our podcast, which is to promote that every single person on this planet is talented in some particular area. It could be just one. And we want to dig them down, you know, and uncover and just present to the world. And by just sharing this experience of this old ancient civilization all the way to China, dude, it's crazy, you know. I'm so lucky to have you and Tarik, you know,
Yeah.
first touch.
So many questions are going through my head right now, so I don't even know where to start. But is there something that you in particular want to talk about?
I'm really thankful to you guys because one quote I remember just from our, I can call him as a philosopher, Allama Ayakazi. So he was the founder of Theosophical Society of London. So he just quoted one in his book on one place that every person have his own story. And if we will sum up, if we will write, if we will dig it out, so you can have some I think different experience. So nowadays I think we are in information technologies era.
Yeah.
So it's not easy to go to the library and having some books and read some books and read some autobiographies. Maybe it's hard, but most of the people do. But this is the way to dig it out, a personal experience and the different stories. So you guys are doing work very well.
Yeah,
I
thank you.
think
man.
according to his ideology, is saying. So maybe the listeners, maybe the later generation can have something different and something good for their motivation, for their way of
Definitely.
life. So we all people also have different backgrounds, different perceptions, different experiences. So it's good to
Yeah.
sharing our experiences
Yeah.
with each other.
You know, it's very interesting because when you see somebody is doing one thing that possibly might help thousands and thousands of people, right? You want to contribute, to just give your, like, you know, like part of yourself to that project or whatever that might be. So in our case is the podcast, which is the best way in our circumstances to just kind of share this ideology, as you just said, or just ideas of how to make this world better. So that's perfect. I'm so excited.
It's appreciable, actually.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Terry, yeah,
So all
run your
right, yeah.
computer.
Yeah, let's the first question for sure is gonna be, yeah, let's understand some historical context. Um so yeah, you were talking about these ancient languages. Could you maybe explain a little bit how, yeah, those old languages, how they can become meaningful or useful for us to understand in this modern era? Is there like something we could learn from it?
I think language is, when we are talking about language, so ultimately we are talking about culture, we are talking about history, we are talking about anthropology, we are talking about archaeology. So, and even especially, particularly when we are talking about ancient languages, so we are talking about past, which reflect our human history.
Yeah.
So major languages which I think which I have studied, I have learned before in my academic life, like Arabic language, Persian language, and even Sindhi language, Sanskrit language,
Yeah.
and even Ibrani language, and even in the East as well, many languages like Italian, I think maybe. I'm not sure about the name, but when we study these any kind of ancient languages, so we can encounter with culture,
Yeah.
we can encounter with past human life, how they lived. If I can give you example of my country, my language, so it's about 5,000 BC's oldest language, my
Wow.
local language, which I studied in my master's. So I think when I was studying, so many people of this language just migrated to the Europe and migrated to the US, America, and even you have heard about in Europe Roma Sindhi people,
Mm-hmm.
maybe.
Yeah.
So they gypsy people.
Oh,
So
gypsy people.
they actually in US many in Europe many gypsy people
In
are
Russia in
living there, in
particular.
Russia particular, yeah. So they actually belongs to the to our land. Actually, this is not my opinion, but it's about the history. The many British scholars have mentioned this, that the origin of these peoples are from the subcontinent of India, especially from our land, where in province in Pakistan, Sindh, where I belong to, because before 1947 it was an independent country and occupied by British in 1843. Because India is a subcontinent, and it was the collection of many countries like Sindh, like many other states, like Punjab, like Hyderabad, Dakhan state. So many states was within the subcontinent of India. So oldest languages are always the make us bright for our future planning. And I think for social cohesion, the oldest language studies are very important. You can
Mm.
have a social cohesion. You can have something like cultural exchange. You can have a cultural development.
Yeah.
And because nowadays the world is facing two kind of difficulties, I think: religious harmony and social harmony. So the languages are very important for at this point, because if we share our ideas, because if I ask I talk about my language, so we have a mysticism is condemn is best way to condemn religious extremism,
Mm-hmm.
and even class system, and even racism.
Mm-hmm.
So we have many kind of philosophers like Shah Latif Bhittai. He has a poetry. He has written the poetry. In ancient literature, we also can find many literature about mysticism, which
Yeah.
reflects humanity. So if we want uh, humanity in the world, So I think the ancient language study is more important nowadays.
Yes, that's a great point. And that's something I've talked about so many times, about how language and culture are not, you can't separate them. They're like two links in a chain. And how once you start to learn a new language, how much it opens up your perspective, your ideas on the world, how you think you could live. Because I think a lot of people suffer from this. When they're kept in a monoculture, when they only know one language and they can only exchange information with people of that language group, it limits them. And when they encounter some problems, they think that the only way to survive or to keep going is to stay within that group. However, when you learn a new language, it makes you understand, like, wait, I don't have to live like this. I could live in this way from people with this culture, or I could bring in some positive notes from that culture that I learned about and show it to my own culture. So I think it's a great thing to study languages, and we always promoting that here on this podcast, as me and Fedor are both language learners as well.
But we've never encountered somebody who studies ancient languages. And to me, this field of studies, in particular this linguistic side, is very fascinating, because I'm still trying to understand, like, why do we have so many words that exactly like English, like Russian English, and together I usually speculate about, like, going like, it was like two guys walking, created these words, randomly. So do you have an answer for that? Maybe no, it's
when I was arrived in China, because it's my first time to travel outside of my country, so I just got so surprised about this, that we have many similar things in our culture and in our civilizations. That's like I would like to give you an example. China have a Mid-Autumn Festival, so we also have this festival in the same time.
Oh yeah.
So China have a Spring Festival, so we also have a same festival in our country, in my province.
Wow.
China have a Lantern Festival. We also have this festival.
And we call it exactly the same?
No, the names are different, because Spring Festival we call it Vaisakhi.
Vaisakhi.
And Mid-Autumn Festival we call it Cheti Chandra.
Oh damn! I can't even try.
Cheti Chandra.
Yes, Cheti Chandra. In the US, many people Sindhi people celebrate this festival every year. In Canada and US and in UK, it's on huge amount of people, they live there. And in Canada especially, the government celebrate these festivals with Sindhi people, because they recognized these festivals of Sindhi people as their government celebrations. And also in US, the government also support the people who they live.
Wow, interesting.
And also I think about the many words, like for father, for mother, for our brother, we call the same, because in China, papa, mama, and even Didi, and
Didi is also like younger brother.
So we call the same. We call the same, like same relationships. We have same words for same relations in our. So we have, I think, the civilizations and cultures have many similarities at the same time. If you can encounter with their languages with their, if you will keep closer to them, you can find many similarities. So I think it's about
Holy Christ, that's a wonderful point. Like, first of all, I gotta say, man, that I thought that actually just we, like my culture, Russian and American, we have like so many things in common. But I didn't look at this from the other side, of the coin. Like, that might be like your culture, Pakistan or India, Great India and China would share that many similarities, So it actually works in both directions. So that's why you guys are more connected to China, like like countries and people from Central Asia. They can relate more to China or to the like Asian particular than to the West. Wow, that's very
I think
interesting.
we also have connection with West, just like I mentioned before, the Gypsy people, about Gypsy people, Roma Sindhi people, and even because when I was studying my previous study in language, so I just encountered that in the 5000 BC, we have findings from researchers that our people do business
Hmm.
by sea at that ancient time with the Eastern people. So we have big connections because it's misfortune that we don't have many recent and modern researches in Pakistan, because I think we need this as on Europe and US and some developing world
Yeah.
have some big amount of researches on ancient languages, but we don't have any this kind of opportunities. But if it will be researched, so many things can be find out new things which can be interesting for the world.
Yeah.
Because I think 1/3 of part of Indian Congress Library in US occupying the literature from India, like sin. Because when we are talking about, maybe always it's surprising for me, and maybe it's some kind of misconceptions for the listeners. But actually, if I describe that, India got the name from Indus River, which recently flowed in Pakistan, and it belongs to my province. Just
Wow.
Indus civilization. If you Google it, so you can find that Indus civilization is an ancient civilization, one of the fourth ancient civilization in the world. We can find it in BC. I mean, the before the century period.
Yeah. Wow,
So
really?
we just spent 2000 years from the century period started. So before 5000, this mean from today, 7,000 years ago, this civilization was existing. And it's not about the paper, it's not about the books. The cities
Yeah.
materially are existing in the country. If you Google it, Mohenjo-daro, you will find it how this city was big.
Wow, really?
It has swimming pool. It was 7,000 years ago. This
Jeez.
city was having swimming pool. This city was having signs of wheat crops.
Yeah.
The fertile crops. They have ships. They have covered sanitation system,
Yeah.
general sanitation
Yeah.
system at the time, and they had houses with roof bricks. So it was interesting, I think. And it connected with eastern side.
Yeah.
So many British scholars, during the British time, when the Britishers occupied the Indian subcontinent, they just researched. If you will find out the gazetteers reports of the British government during 18th century, 19th century from India. So you can find this literature that how this civilization was big and connected with
Wow.
other world.
Wow. That's crazy. You know, China was attacking me with their 5,000 years, and now I got 7,000. I cannot handle that much, you know. But it's very interesting to research. And by the way, have you swum in that river that goes to like in your village?
Yeah, this river is very big actually. Unfortunately, I cannot swim.
Yeah.
but I did boating in that river. I have this experience, and it has biggest barrage system in the Asia.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of a good, I think, and it's very long also. I think about more than 3,000 kilometers longer.
Yeah.
This river.
It would take me a while to swim all across, you know. I decided, you know, but it's interesting, you know. I gotta think about it.
Yeah.
So you said you have become now a lecturer, right?
Yes.
A lecturer. I'm sorry. The topic was interdisciplinary. Could you repeat it?
About my lectureship, I teach Sindhi language.
Oh, okay. But
in university.
there was another one. I'm sorry. You said it was like
And now in Zhejiang University, I do my research PhD study here. I'm in comparative international education.
Comparative
right.
International Education.
So yeah, could you tell me a little bit about that? Because I'm also very curious about that. How is that?
Uh, Comparative international education is a subject which deals with comparison of the educational systems around the world. Comparison in means of curriculum, in means of educational policy, in means of school system and teaching system, teaching technology, education technology,
Okay,
like this.
fucking mosquitoes, man. They start this war. I gotta close the window, you know.
No, it's okay. I think
Mosquitoes.
here the mosquitoes are not dangerous.
Yeah, you think so, man?
All mosquitoes are dangerous, you know.
Yeah.
But in China, I have heard about that these mosquitoes are malaria free.
Oh
So
yeah.
don't be scared about it.
But they are usually our fortune tellers. You know, they can tell the fortune.
And also these poor mosquitoes, where they will eat. They need
Poor-
our food to eat.
Brother, mosquitoes do not need sympathy, you know. They're our enemies. Absolutely my enemy, you know. When I was in Russia in Fedor's house, every night, you know, mosquitoes were coming right when I'm trying to sleep.
Yeah, it's very, very annoying when when you are sleeping and mosquitoes comes and they silence their voice in your ears.
Yeah.
It's really unbearable.
So I always
Yeah.
call that time the mosquito wars because I feel like I'm fighting for my life, you know. No, I want to sleep, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, but sorry, cut you off right at the description of.
Yeah, so comparative, my major here, comparative international education, is about to comparison, what's going on in the education system around the world, how the different countries running their educational systems, what differences they have, what spatial technologies nowadays, what spatial curriculum they have, and if some countries are far lagging behind in the education system. So what are the reasons? So just like this.
Right,
study.
right. So the first thing I gotta ask is, I mean, everybody, it's the first question on everyone's mind. What country has like the best educational system? And I know that's kind of subjective opinion, but more like which one are the most high rated? Which one put out the most successful graduates and things like this?
According to my knowledge, is Finland, and then Norway, and then Singapore, and again Australia, and then UK are the best, and then if we will count, then US.
Oh,
China.
no. Come on. US is
In darker, yeah. It's not lagging behind. It's not on the top, but also in the mid. So if we will talk about top, so it's Finland, it's Singapore, it's Norway, it's Denmark, and it's Australia. Then if we will talk about mid, it's UK.
I think
US.
I think France, Germany are also somewhere around there.
Yeah. So Germany, actually, Germany.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Germany
uh,
for sure. You know, it's
For
interesting
sure.
because I have done.
France, US, and UK, I think little bit same. Maybe first France, then US, UK, then US. So we can categorize this way.
Interesting.
But it kind of shows in our electorate too, like how our voting systems elect our leaders, you know, who is choosing who. Because if you notice right now, at least with this, as we talked about earlier with these global leaders, there are some countries who have like, you know, like Angela Merkel, you know, you have like
Sana.
in Finland. And these are some of the most well-spoken, well-educated. Every time I heard a report this morning about Angela Merkel explaining something about the coronavirus, and the way she explained how to deal with it was amazing. I was just like, how could you not feel confident living in that kind of country? Whereas in these countries that I guess you just said the middle, they're having a lot more problems. And my personal opinion is that it's due to this education system. The people are not all educated, and especially in the US, we don't have this universal education, free education for higher learning. So I think this is what causes, countries to have these kind of differences in their political representation. But I wanted to ask you, so besides the top, it's what are some things that these differences, like these different countries are doing? Let's start from the good ones. What are some positive things that they're doing in education?
I think most of the positive things, if we will talk about, first one is the learning environment in a school, and then the system, a governing system of the education system, and then curriculum. What sort of curriculum, what sort of things you are putting in the curriculum? Is it based on practical, which relate to your practical life or not? So these three ways we can particularize any country. There's this country have a good education system. Actually, we have some terminologies in education. One nowadays, which is very best governing system in education, is decentralization of education. Make institutes independent on bottom level to perform well, to give good environment to the learning environment to the students, which is adopted by Singapore and Finland especially. Decentralization. This is the concern of whole world, especially nowadays in China, and they are working to having the same pattern in China, but China and these countries have different orientation of political systems, so that they have some sort of problems, issues. So first one is environment in a school, that which kind of environment you are giving to the students, and also a big concern about the society, that how facilitated your society is, how people are having the basic opportunities of standard life, have quality life or not. So
could you say some examples? Just give some examples of what would you think is?
Because I would quote saying, I don't remember the name of the writer, but he just quote at one place that what you will put in schools, you will get the same. So I think from the society, if you have some good minds, you have relaxed, peaceful minds, you have skilled minds, skilled about not education or the skills about practical work, but skills about thinking. If you have a healthy mind, people, peaceful mind, they have peace in their life, and they will giving you back more. So I think their society do matter on the first stage. Democratic values you have, if you have religious freedom, you have thinking freedom, if you have economically everything, quality life, if you have, then you will put the human resource in the schools. So this, of course, ultimately they will giving you back very well. And then, because I believe as a teacher, we are having the students in the school for maybe in just like we are talking about the best countries, they have 7 hours, up to 9 hours in a school. So your child will spend approximately 9 hours, 6 to 9 hours in a school, but remaining all time he need to spend at home and at the street in the society. So it does matter. Your governing system of the country, your economic situation of the country, your social orientation of your country is supporting to the child, supporting your young generation to having the lessons correctly, to having the education correctly or not. This is the first factor. Then your school is doing the job correctly. because school always dependent on two things. First one is governance. I talked about decentralization of governance. If like developing countries, if I give my school Pakistan educational systems, we have a lot of misinterpretations in curriculum as well, and according to governance, we have many things, interruptions from central government, from provincial government, from local government. But if you have a decentralized education system like in Finland, in Singapore, so your school is totally independent to govern, to administer its system within the school. So this is the major point. And then is curriculum. If you have a strong curriculum thinking, if you have a good sort of things you are teaching to the, I studied about in Finland that till age of 7, I think. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think approximately age of 7, the students, the kids don't supposed to read a book to give the exam. It's surprising.
Yeah.
If I will take my example of my country and all around the world, from the age of 3, age of 4, from the kindergarten or Montessori, children need to bring the bags, heavy bags, 14 books every day, and get back to the home. They just like this, and they cannot walk with that kind sort of books.
That's why they're
So
brawling.
they have 10 kg, 12 kg kid always bring 14 kg books. So what will he learn? What will he do in the classroom? But and we supposed to measure his skills in the age of 6 years, 8 years. I think this kind of things these countries don't have. They don't have exams for until 4 class. I think 4 or 5 class. They just bring the students to the some kind of garden, some kind of natural environment. They just teach the children with natural environment. This is the basic point. Not books, not letters, not writing. They just build their imagination. They just build their inner skills. Their mind capable enough, having some skills in their minds, and they enrich their minds with natural environment. Because the age, this age group only can imagine very well.
Yeah.
If you will ask him that just rotate the things in your mind, just to be skilled for writing and just I think
cultivate the ingenuity and creativity.
So it's kind of these kind of barriers, I think, making kids very hard to study. But in that countries, they have the naturalistic more. They are
Approach,
their kids are more near to nature. And one big thing is they are very near to practical things. In their curriculum, they just study the curriculum which they need to having the things practically in their life. But like developing countries, many, I think, including US, maybe Russia, Pakistan, maybe other countries. So they have curriculum, but this curriculum actually, I think, not satisfying graduates, even kids in their practical life. I think about 80%, which we have already studied in a university in classroom. We don't need to get it practically.
Exactly.
So this is one of the clash which is making good and bad education system around the world, I think.
Right. Wow. Yes,
very...
perfectly summed up. You hit every point that I've ever thought of. You know, I was just like, yeah, look at all these problems in the education system. And I think a big problem is how to change it, right? Because it becomes, at least in my country, extremely political. Anytime someone says, oh, maybe we should change the curriculum, or maybe we should teach this, or maybe we shouldn't give so many tests, it's always a big problem. And the reason why, as I said, besides politics, is that people are scared to lose their standing. As you said, we started off this podcast talking about the ranking of the best educations in the world. And I think this is the main objective of these governments. They're so worried about, oh, how many of our kids are the best in math or something like that. And they're just trying to compare and compete with the rest of the world. But actually, they should just be focused on, okay, look, it's all right. Maybe for the next 5 years, we will change our education system and we won't be number one or number whatever. But after this 5 years, or maybe it would have to be longer, we would see a generational shift. We would see a lot more kids who know what they want to do when they come out of school. We would see more kids who are more confident in themselves and a lot of things like that. So that also leads to my next question. But Fedor, you go ahead. You still you want to say something?
You've touched all, acute problems and points. But at the same time, studying at this university as a bachelor student, America in particular, not being on this top level in terms of the quality of education, people still want to go to America to study, because I guess your country sells their brand pretty well, and it's fascinating because I've never heard of let's go to Finland, they have the best education.
I said that to you, man.
Guy from America. That's no one there.
Actually, I want to put a point here, because why people want to go US, why people go to is still one, because I think maybe I'm not native there. I haven't been there and I'm not native there. But one thing I studied in my research, that American university, other than world, particular university, I'm not talking about the school system. Higher education system, they have more democratic system in the universities. And the social orientation of the universities are very best in the world, because if we are talking about US political system, is totally opposite to the academic orientation, universities orientation. Universities are, I think, more democratic. US also political system is, but it has some deficiencies again. I think here we don't supposed to talk about. The universities, they have good, I think, academic orientation. Is still have good academic orientation. And even one more, I think, other thing is about the money, because US offer scholarships to the, maybe I'm not sure about how about the natives, because our friend just mentioned that US don't have any free education for the natives. So,
we have scholarships. We do have scholarships. Some people get full rides, as we call it. It means they didn't have to pay anything, and they go to some of the best universities.
But for the developing world, especially, US have many programs. They offer many scholarships and huge amount of on the scholarships to the graduates. I think one of the reasons is that we use a term of brain drain and brain gain.
Brain drain, brain gain. Right?
Brain gain, yeah. So the US particularly in the world is brain gainer. They gain quality brains from the world, around the world, and they have some potential. They just invest the economy. I think huge part of the economy on this to develop their country as well, and having some new inventions like that. And also, why graduates want to go there? I think it's about money as well. They have some sort of opportunities to work there with their studies as well, and also the immigration system as well. US, if it's very hard to get in US, but once if you got in, so you can have a lot of opportunities there. You can build your life standard. You can put your case for immigration, so like this. So this kind of system, other countries, I think, have some more barriers.
Yeah, and I just want to add, now it's my turn to rant. So you mentioned previously about democratic like mindset, like religious free society, in terms of like you will just get this benefit. That's why there's a big market for all kinds of people there, and that's why people are striving to go there. And we can see the stark contrast between US and China, where you cannot immigrate by the end of your education system. Yeah, China, thanks for the scholarship, for the money. But at the same time, I've been talking to a lot of students here, and the reason why they chose this path to study, to keep, pursuing their higher education, is because, no, man, I just don't want to go back home. I don't want to be a scientist. It's just like, I'm gonna delay my adult life here. I've seen many people here like, no, 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 no. It just was about like, yeah, just money and it's for free. So there is a big difference in the US. I've never been there, but I assume that you will actually have opportunities. Whereas here, it's just a matter of, all right, man, now I gotta relax for another 4 years or two. Yeah, I gotta get my diploma from one of the best universities, and then I'm done. What else can you get, man? If you're not like starting from the bottom, I don't know.
But I think from the optimistic perspective, if we will think that maybe to being in China, I think is also a good thing.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
it's nowadays it's not very easy to having some sort of fully funded scholarships and having some new experience of a good academic life, because everyone cannot get to the US, everyone cannot get to the Europe. Because before I was accepted by the German university, Göttingen University. So at the time they just offered me a place, but they didn't offer a full funded scholarship, so I just chose the China. But and also one of the fact is that China is just transforming its system. And the near future, maybe they have the different system from now.
Absolutely.
And one bigger thing is the language. The most maybe difficult and most upcoming language in the world is Chinese. And of course they have big population in the world, and of course the empowered economy now in the world. So maybe those people who have this language skill, so they would have some sort of good opportunities in the future.
Yeah, but
So
at the
this is
same
also-
time, it's very hard, as you just mentioned, very hard language, and it doesn't feel like we're about to learn it. How many of these people, like in a proportion of not Chinese, like primarily foreign students or expats, live and speak Chinese? And my question would be, how you gotta educate it? How you gotta teach them, all of us, this language? Because it's ferociously hard to learn. And at the same time, there is no steps. They're gonna, all right, man, no, I gotta help you. Let's sit down, I gotta explain you some basic rules.
Yeah, and I want to chime in. It's also not just about the difficulty of the language, but the culture and how they exchange this language, how Chinese people relate to non-Chinese people. I think that's where the real problem lies. So yeah, what do you think about that?
I strongly agreed with Fedor. His points is really to the point. But just I said before, optimistically, if we will think about this, that I think Chinese people nowadays, especially young generation, is more friendly, and I think the Chinese culture is most attractive culture, I think, in the world. Maybe for me, maybe for others also. And for the language they have, but I believe that if you will, every good comes after hardship. So nowadays for us, especially for younger generation, it's kind of opportunity to being here, I think. Because many of students, many of young generation don't have chance, especially from the country where I belong, from the developing world. It's very rare. I think to having the opportunity to have this kind of international standard education. I think for the US as well, because I studied about this, many US graduates don't have opportunity to get the higher education, good quality of higher education nowadays, and even for Russia, same. So it's kind of a good thing. And one major thing is that China is seeking for a good relationship with other nations of the world because it just opened their corridors for the world.
Yeah.
And they are keeping their business, their economic activities, their cultural activities, they are enhancing. So I think for the Eastern countries, for the US, they have some sort of top level now. So, and China is just growing up. So the people who are here just now, they have the future about 20 years, maybe 10 years later. They can have a good, bright future if they will work hard.
Yeah. So it's like
That's a long
it's
time,
a long investment that I would have to go to hellfire and come back. You know.
I think, according to my perception, is long-term investment of your if you are doing well here.
In my perception, it's a long time no see. You know.
It's
Because this is also the issue of us, especially for younger generation. We are just doing the things in a hurry, and we just think that we just put and we just get suddenly, but it's not good, I think.
Well, oh, I'm sorry. I have to stop you here. You know, first of all, climate change is a big countdown. All right. We can all agree on that. So that's why I think our generation is feeling this rush. You know, we got to do stuff quick because the future is not guaranteed. That's the point, you know? And when you said this, yeah, long term, I'm like, you know, the world could end in 5 years, you know, so maybe 20 is too long. So I think there should be a sense of urgency, you know.
Yeah.
I think I think totally opposed of this kind of ideas. I think
You're more
I strongly
optimistic.
oppose because I don't think so that the world will just end in some sort of years. I think no. Actually, I'm a Muslim. I believe in second age after death. But as I told you before in the beginning, we have a mysticism philosophy in our province, in our land. So according to that, the human life is always exist on the land, on the earth. So I think it's not about to end this world. It will transform. Yeah, of course it will transform because we have five ages in the human life. As we were, we spend the age before the century period, and then agricultural life, industrial life, and then now we are in technological life. Maybe the coming time have an other kind of age, but it will exist. So we don't need to be hurry to having the things immediately because we will die tomorrow. I think it's not perfect.
That's very interesting, and I suppose your vote would go straight to Republican Party because they do not promote any climate change solutions.
And also, this is a very big issue of the world, climate change. But you know, if we will fight against nature, it will compensate. I think, according to my perception, I'm not sure that what is happening around the US and they have some clash with China, that they are alligating each other. The virus comes from here, virus comes from here. But according to my perception, this is my individual perception and ideas, that this is the compensation of nature. If humans will cross the line, the nature will compensate. So this is the compensation because we have did lot of things according to the new scientific inventions, and we hurt the nature. Actually, we hurted it. So this is compensation of nature because after every 100 years, the same pandemic happens because the nature have their own rules. And it compensates the environment. So if we will destroy the climate the nature will compensate it as like it's compensating now. So we will suffer, but it will not end at all.
I just want to join this conversation. It's very interesting, and to my knowledge, I've heard that Ali, our mutual friend, told that in your province, in your region, in the summertime, it gets to like 52 degrees Celsius.
Yeah,
like
some areas, yeah.
Yeah, super hot. And according to this mystic tradition, like life exists on the land, right?
Yeah, life will always exist on the earth.
So I just like knowing what is going on in America, in Australia, bushfires, all of this stuff. I assume that in 5 years, the temperature will rise to that level that no fan, no air conditioner won't help anymore. So you would have to leave the land. And when you leave the land, life stops existing.
I think if you will see that many part of the world, even hotter than our area.
Mhm.
So even their people are also living. I think this is not about it will keep high and people will die. Human always have capability to seek some advantages to live their life, to transform their life. So human have a mind. So in our mystic perspective, we just think that we are the part of God. Human is the part of God according to our perception, mystic perspective. So we are not separate from God. So just God has given us the capability to transform our lives according to the environment, according to the climate, according to the needs of our life to live the life on earth. So we have spent 5 ages. I just told you, if you will go and study the human history. So many difficult time human has passed in the past history.
Yeah.
Even now we have many things to to make comfort of our lives.
Yeah.
But before we hadn't. But even in that time, humans survived. So our survival don't have any have hurdles, but it's not about the end. I think some people, if some people thinking like that, maybe their idea is good for them, but actually it's not the naturalistic and it's not the according to my perception.
I understand, and it's funny because that's why I have given up on Christianity, because of this perception of like people gotta suffer. We suffer to an extent that maybe in the future someday the benefit might come up to you, because of this suffering. That's the first point. And the second point is it's very fascinating that, all of those big topics that you're trying to negotiate, such as climate change, like tobacco industries, like illegal drugs, all legalization of prostitution, all kinds of stuff. It is really hard to negotiate because all kinds of people have their own different perception of it according to their mysticism or like Russian traditions or whatever that might be. So I just realized how big and hard it is to solve all of these problems.
I think our concern should be not to solve the problems, to just focus on to having this sort of thinking. But I think we must contribute our we just making our contributions, little contribute. If every human could making his little contribution to this, I think it could be better. So it's not about to blame each other that because of this is happening, because of this that happened. But if we will realize that this is our duty, this is if we will start from individual to the nation, to the states, to the countries, to the all over the world. So it's about the contributions. If we will contribute to things, so the things could be better.
Yeah,
it's about us. But on the broad level, I think it's about the countries, It's about the economic. It's about the different because nowadays even have some countries have fight within them who will occupy the top position, who will occupy the economic resources. So it's about that. But I think if the people just like us, we are discussing, we have concern about this, and many people around the world have this type of concern. Especially I was watching the condition in US since last few months. So the one black man just killed by the police, and all US habitants just got on the road, and they were protesting against this massacre of the this. And even
not all of us, not all. There's a large.
but according to our resources of media, we were watching that most of the people was against of this kind of act.
Yes. I would say in the US, everyone was against what happened. Like the killing, everybody believes it was wrong, but not everybody supported the protests which happened after.
So even yeah, it's true that every person cannot participate like the same, but even they are opposing this kind of thinking that this is best, this is good, because at least they think they oppose this. So I'm just, as I'm talking about, every single people, every individual, if I have concern and make its contribution, so we can make good things on the earth, and we can save our planet.
So this exact point is something that I have a deep wonder about, a deep desire to understand. It's the idea of ambition, right? Just like you said, all people should be trying to find in some small way to contribute to advancing us. But I think a lot of people have now started to feel disillusioned by this. They don't feel like even if they did something that it's going to make a difference. And I think that is also a big part of education. So my question to you is, have you noticed that there is a lack of ambition for a lot of people? And if you do notice it, what do you think is the cause of it?
Yeah, I have noticed the lack of this ambition exists. I think two reasons for this. One big reason is economic war between the bigger countries in the world. And second, the misinterpretation of the religions. If we will start from Christianity, Islam, and even Hinduism, even some other small religions. So they are just misinterpreted, because not any single religion talked about or having concern against human life. But the misinterpretation of religion has created some issues among people. And the first one, economic interest, just making racism around the world, that this nation is superior, this nation is smaller, this nation is developed, this nation is undeveloped. So these two reasons making this lack of ambition. How to resolve it? I think very first, I think every country must have the humanity interest first. If they will have humanity interest first, then they just will care about all human, not only about the nations they belongs to, but about all the world. And about the religions, I think okay, if the religion is a personal matter, individual matter, if you are not imposing your ideology on the other people, if you are not thinking that all people just think like your perception, your ideas, so it could be better. As according to our philosophy of my land, the religion is all about individual matter. It's not social matter. It's not about human matter. It's not about the nation's matter. It's not about the cultural things. It's about your own individual things, you and between your God. In which God you trust, it's your totally your individual matter. If you don't, it's your matter, not others. Don't preach it, don't impose it, don't make it superior against others. So in this way, you will not hurt.
In God we
others.
trust. In God we trust.
But I just want to be clear. When I said ambition, I mean more like, yeah, we could describe it as the dreams that people have that they want to achieve in their life. So I can see some of the factors that you were saying, how it could play in. But to be more specific, let's take religion. A lot of religions kind of preach to people to live a humble life, right? You don't need to have big dreams. You don't need to make a lot of money. You don't need a lot of material possessions. And to be honest, I agree with those things. However, I think there's still a lot of other ways that you could use your life as a way to bring the rest of humanity up, or just not even all of it, just mostly the lower people who are so struggling hard just to survive. That's how I see it. It's like, so what I'm saying is, yeah, how can we inspire people who may not have like a high education and maybe they feel like education is not for them. They don't want to go to college because they think it's too expensive and it's not going to pay off. How do you inspire those people?
For this, I think very first, not any single religion asks to the people. I'm not ask about the preach, the monks' perceptions. They just preach to the people that this is about the religion. This religion asks you to do this. But I'm asking about, I would like to give the example of the Islam. And not any single religion hinder people to develop their lives, to make their lives very having the quality life. Because in Islam, that one verse just I would like to translate that the God on one place said that we have God give you the birth to explore the earth, to explore the things which we have put on earth. So in this way, what does it mean? It means that you make your life more transforming. You make your life more quality life. Make the things which we have already give you, which we have already provide you on the earth, and use it for yourself. And again, it's and other verses say that lakum dinakum waliyadin. If you don't trust in this religion, your religion is yours, and other religions is others. If they don't believe, don't blame them at all. That you are the fake, I'm the right. So this is the religion. I think the same in Christianity, the same in other religions, but the interpretation of the monks is totally against of the soul of all religions. Because nowadays, it's very interesting that the religions are not about the to develop the souls of the people. It's about economic.
Yeah.
The economy, strong economy, even every behind. If you will see the reasons of this, I think you will find economic reasons, because every preacher of every religion have their own benefits behind it, and they are preaching as they like. So another thing, I think for human life ambitions, I think it's a duty of every state, every country, that they just make the people's lives better. They just need to struggle for it, and it's all about the political system.
Yeah, all about
every country must have the democratic orientation of their political system. Every individual must have the freedom of expression, and I think economic. They must have some good. They just not impose their thinking. They just not impose, because
and the right to carry a gun. That's also very important.
Yeah, this is very important. And the basic thing is education. It can resolve this problem.
I gotta take a piss. Real quick. Right here. You guys talking? Keep talking. Restroom?
Yes. So yeah, okay. I kind of understand what you mean. I still think that that it's really hard to put all the responsibility on the state because maybe this is just my American perspective, but individual people have their responsibility too. And I have seen in my life in America that there are many people who could go to school. You know, the government gives us the assistance to at least get this higher education, but a lot of people choose not to. They make that personal choice to not go to school, and their reason in some cases is because they don't think it's going to help them. They don't see the value of it. They think it's too much effort. It's going to take too long. It's too expensive. So because of this, they choose to do like maybe a smaller job, like work in a supermarket, like I do, and they don't advance themselves. They don't see themselves as like a leader, someone who could change something. They allow this responsibility to be passed to someone else, and it's not that I think it's wrong for them to do that, but I just wonder if the number of people are actually increasing or decreasing. You know, if there's more people who are becoming like, I don't want to do anything, you know, I just want to just relax in my life. Or if there's more people who are working hard, you know, want to go somewhere.
Mhm. I think about this. Yes, uh, we must consider two perspectives. One is our right, and one is our responsibility. So the same for individuals, same for the state. The state is responsible for transforming its citizens' life, and also it has the rights to follow the laws of the state by the individuals. And also individuals have rights on the state. The state must provide all necessities of life and quality life to the citizens, and also they have rights to follow the constitution, follow the laws, regulate the laws in their lives, daily lives. So it's about the rights and responsibilities. So I think it's the same for states, same for citizens. But for this, I think if we are thinking that development is that the all people in the country are leaders or not, so I think it's not about that, as you expressed this idea. I think every person, the development is that is every person is literate, at least basic literate. Is every person have a skills to transform their lives, and they have a house for living, meal for eat, and having some social, not behavioral and social kind of misunderstandings. So I think this is they have some kind of economic resources to spend their daily life necessities. So I think this is the development. All people in any country cannot be leaders, cannot be wealthy. It's true. It's because for the society you need every kind of I think class, every kind of human resource. Some people will work for others, some people will lead to others, some people will educate others, some people will give them services to their make their health, maintain their health. Just like some people will perform to their making their homes. So it's like the society. So if we are asking about society, so it must have every kind of corner. So, but again, if in the society any kind of corner is going to be weakened, so it's about the responsibility of the state to make the efforts to make that corner more capable to having the.
You know, I think you put too much responsibility for the states, you know, for the governments. And what the previous example that you mentioned about the education, primarily decentralization is the way to make it more efficient. And I have attended a class like institutional management or something, institutional economics. We also talk about this particular decentralization. And from my point of view, it would be way better if actually those big cities start to rule independently and not as the state. And this during this coronavirus, I mean, come on, we all seen the complete inability of states to respond it, to correspond it coherently, such as America, the UK, Pakistan, Russia, and now you're saying that, yeah, if it's the social order is not maintained by the people, the government has to intervene and impose some changes, which is I am strongly opposed this position. Because when the time came to make some right decisions, boom, we see the second wave in Russia, what is going in Pakistan, India, it's fucking crazy, man.
I think my ideas is totally different from this. This is a prime responsibility of any state. First, how it has educated its people. And if we are talking about the decentralization of education, it doesn't mean that the institution, whatever wants, it can do. But it's about to govern the internal governance, internal management by the institute. Again, it's responsibility of the state that it must provide some sort of amount, some sort of budget, some sort of...
No. I'm talking about more to decentralize the government. Like, why should I ask for the government, that big monopolistic corporation, where instead I can call to my mayor and ask Moscow,
this way,
please, I need some more funding to the school.
Because in China, we have seen that they have their strong local government is very strong, and even they have reach to the common people. Even in single street, we have experience in China that they have very, very strict and very, very efficient local government system. So I think it's better, yeah.
So you mentioned the Chinese system. It's interesting, but at the same time, the drawbacks and the primary motivation to work to that goal of being decentralized is actually get more benefits to their region. And in some special occasions, for some bad special occasions, we won't tell anyone. We won't tell the state government what happened. And then it causes to boom, not to mention. So yes, you can see it's all, all opaque, to say,
I think one important thing is that here don't have blame game, because in other countries always have blame game.
No, I'm not blaming. I'm just saying the comparison. It's like maybe this type of the government, it has its own benefits and drawbacks. So right now we are as these communicators are trying to find a solution, maybe a cohesive, maybe a very durable one that will provide this cure to all of these diseases that we've experienced during this coronavirus.
I think this pandemic has given the lesson all over the world, and this also has transformed the world from an other period to an most advanced era. I think we are transformed. So on one side, it's really panic. The pandemic has make a loss of many humans. It's very, very sad. But also one advantage it has given to us to transform our lives, transform our activities, more cultural exchange, more close to more to learn from each other some sort of things. So it's also opportunity. So I think this everything has the bad and the good, but the opportunities is for those who have the capability. So I think again it's the responsibility of every state that it must capable their citizens. Education.
I'm smiling because you sound like a politician, Hemoon. Are you considering to run for office? You know?
Yeah, but it was
So
interesting.
we cannot take out the responsibility of the state, because according to my perception, it's basic. Nowadays, it's basic. It's very essential.
Dude, we will get our vote.
Yeah.
Don't worry. You know, we will.
Yeah, Hemoon, I don't know which position you're running for, you know, president or education minister, but you're doing a good job, you know, good practice.
Yeah.
But no, you know,
But
I want to ask another question. Let's change the topic a little bit. So, what do you think about like the role of sports in life? You know, I have
and
constantly,
activities. And activities.
yeah,
Is
I
the
have constantly compared like sports and politics. You know, it's becoming more similar every day. You know, everybody has their side. They just root for their side, and they're not willing to change their opinion. So, do you feel like politics is gonna evolve also into this just teams of people with no changes, or do you think that there's a possibility that we could have people be more open-minded about it?
First of all, this is my research area actually. When we were talking about before, so I'm just doing my research on the educational poverty, where from the educational poverty comes from. I will describe it later, but first let me express my views about politics. I think politics is not about to grabbing the rights, to making the world worse, to make a lie to the people, to make fake governments, to make votes by some like that. But the politics is the science of life, science of a state. How will you run the state? How will you govern the state? How will you making the people's life in the state? It's the politics, and it's kind of I think big service to done by any people who is doing politics, if fair politics. So we unfortunately we have the term fair politics and bad politics within the country, and within the globe. So this is another topic, I think. But according to the sports, as you said, is essential for human life. We cannot compare that the politics is essential for people or the sports activities are essential for people. Politics, I think, is about social life and in the country, and having some economic resources to living the life and pattern of life. How will you live within the country? It will be decided by politics. The policies which will definitely will come from the politics. Mm-hmm. And the sports is totally another thing. It's about I think it's the big part of educational activity, must be big part according to my research area, because we have a new terminology in the educational research nowadays: educational poverty. First, maybe you didn't have heard about it. Maybe many people are, because we have heard about economic poverty, we have heard about learning poverty, we have heard about chronic poverty, and we are much familiar with many kind of poverties. But what is educational poverty? Educational poverty, actually, the people who have some sort of certificates, degrees, and some professional skills also, but don't have behavioral skills to transform their lives for others, to perform their skills very well. Practically, they can offer their capabilities, skills to the society, mm-hmm. and maybe behavioral deficiencies like that. So where it comes from? It actually comes from the pressure of the academic curriculum, and educationally poor people always, I think, encounter with lack of sports, because I think around about more than 80% people, school youngsters, don't have opportunity to play the games, play the sports, to having the art activities, music activities, sports just like the part, but and other activities also can be the part of this. To visit the museums, to having experience of some kind of leisure activities. So actually those people more educationally poor, who don't have this kind of activities, this kind of opportunities to make this kind of activities in their during their academic life.
It's
School
very
life,
interesting because probably those bad politicians, they didn't have enough sports activities in their
I think
that's
so,
why.
because sport activities is just not like to make your body looks well, but it helps your mind. I'm not a scientist, but I think everyone can assume this, that the sports activities, art activities, and even all kind of leisure activities make your mind more healthy, make your thinking broad, make your skills more practical. So I think the first study of educational poverty was held in Italy. So it brings about the 80% school population of the Italy was encountering with the educational poverty. And I have just planned my research on Pakistan, how what amount of educational poverty in our country have. I think I just encountered during the literature I reviewed, more than 90% people are encountering with educational poverty. So, but if we will take the example of the China, maybe it's more different. But if we will take the example of Russia, even the US, and even the except
Liechtenstein.
few countries from the Europe, just like Germany, and others, all countries are encountering with this kind of phenomenon. So I think sports activities is essential for human life. It can be make you more skilled, more worthful, because unfortunately in my country people think that, oh, you're doing sports, you're doing nothing. So this kind of perception, I think, is wrong. So this is again is the responsibility of the systems, of course, state systems.
Yeah, you might
they must interpret these things in the educational systems. Yeah.
You might think about changing the topic actually of your research to do a survey or study, write your dissertation, I don't know, about the correlation between those two, politicians and sports activities.
Yeah, that would be super interesting.
That would be insane. Like you actually go to the office and ask how many hours have you spent playing basketball or football
or doing pull-ups.
Doing pull-ups, of course.
We are the researchers and we are the academicians. We cannot encounter this type of questions.
Yeah,
in person. But we can interpret the data. We can interpret the ideas and the literature.
But that's the most important problem of all academia right now, even in your field of studies. Look, man, if I was a PhD student and if it was up to me to decide which topic to pick, that would be so fucking interesting to people all around. To just like, oh, hold on a second. You did a study? Oh, a dissertation on that? Because how many studies, PhD, just for publications, just for money that you get from your state and not from people? Because people don't give a fuck about it. Why? Because it's like, you study education and poverty. Yeah, that's a very interesting, but it's super broad topic, it's like where to start, state, society. I mean, I can write this right now, man. Like, give me 1 evening, you will get a whole script, how to change it. But if it did for politicians, I know it's hard, but actually, and that's what you're interested about. You have like leisure, you have interest in this poverty, education of poverty, then you can coincide those two. You know, you can merge those 2 points and then do a study. And that would be insane. You know, you could publish on Facebook, gonna get likes, you know, and reposts. So it would be like just a crazy like work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think we all the time, many time we encounter this kind of question. One of many people ask me, "Oh, man, in which major you are doing your PhD?" So I just ask that in education. Oh, education. Yeah, we know that you are doing your PhD in education, but what's your major? So people even don't know about the education as a major.
Yeah,
Many people,
because
I think,
people cannot imagine it. People can imagine, if you're
And-
working in
and-
education, you're a teacher. Because
and,
teacher, yeah, you know.
And
but
also-
education and poverty, what is it? You're in a impoverished circumstances, and you're trying to educate yourself, or it is an education in a poverty or something. You know, it's like I don't know how to interpret this term. You know,
so this is the way. This is the reason where we don't. I think most of us, we don't get education as a science. And if we will encounter with this, I think we can have the idea about this. Again, I think you have given the example of those people. I think these people are the basic area of my research which are really educationally poor. So I just want to encounter that why and how they are educationally poor.
Wow, interesting. I just wonder, why don't you get a Nobel Prize for it? Like, why do the physicists get it? The like chemistry?
Many. I think one of the Amartya Sen was the founder of this methodology. Is the Nobel Prize winner.
And what is his for what? For
he
what
has
is
worked
the subject?
about his subject was economic, but within the economic, his subject is chronic poverty and educational poverty. He has given the method how to measure the educational poverty within the people. So he has just got the Nobel Prize.
Oh,
so it's not about people
the recent one. The one that's the guy.
I think it's about 1999.
1999
or 1998. Yeah.
Wow.
One of the best.
Yeah, before you were born, Fedor.
But it's super interesting. Is it hard to do? Like, how do you conduct your experiments? Like this workflow?
It's about the qualitative research method, and it's totally depend on questionnaire and field visits and literature review. And I have just put some kind of workshops of the school kids to gather them and having some questions about the life, perceptions about their lives, and measure that they have this kind of opportunities, layer activities or not, sports activities with educational academic life. Beside of the educational academic life, they have this kind of opportunities or not.
Wow.
If those have their skills, what amount of academic skills they have, and who don't have this kind of opportunities, what kind of sort of amount of academic skills they have. If those who don't have this opportunity and they are lagging behind in the academic skills, it means they are educationally poor.
Yeah.
And if those have these opportunities, it will be the research. It's a research hypothesis, but it can be measured after with interviewing people to field visit and having some data from literature and workshops. So let's see what
interesting. So the final result of your work is gonna be a dissertation, right? The final paper.
Yeah, of course.
And then this final paper will go to where? To the governor? To the state?
Of course, our university, Zhejiang University, this dissertation will be for them. And of course, we need to publish our papers in SSCI journals, social science is index journals. So of course this will be all.
Do you
all
think
of us.
your or like any people who are working in this field, their final work will somehow impact the whole world, or
Oh, yeah,
is
of
it
course.
possible?
Before me, as I told you that in Italy they worked about this. One
Mhm.
of one of researcher I just encountered on the research kit. So I talked about him. He was the co-member of this project in Italy. So
Mhm.
he just said me that we have done this work, and now the Italian government just have adopted the policy, adopted the research findings in their education systems, and they make just made the essential for their school system that they must have leisure activities, art activities for the
Wow. So
students.
it's like it was a very hard decision to make, right? To like live in this world, looking at America probably, or close countries.
Because my as I just encountered with the data, so in our country in Pakistan, more than only 37% institutions have playgrounds for kids. Only 20% kids, only school going students have the opportunity to visit the museums and
Damn.
libraries, and so this is very small amount, and that's why people are going to be worse, and their thinking is narrow, and they cannot perform well in their daily life for the society, for the state, for the all humanity. So I think if I will get this result, maybe my research will influence the education policy in the country, and maybe it will influence the donor agencies which have programs to develop the education systems in the country. So
interesting.
one of my friends just asked me that why you are doing research, why you are not doing business, why you are getting education, what the fuck, who is reading the literature? No one is reading literature. Why you are doing? So for this, I just think that it's not the wastage of time. Everyone, where we are here, if we are here, and one person is in US and we are in China, you are from Russia, I'm from Pakistan. So we have this kind of sitting and we are talking about, this is all about the research. This is all about those researchers just like us, some scientists.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Some every research have its benefit, and every research have its own, I think, importance. It's very important.
The only difference is we are not getting money from academia or states for providing this quality information, and people from academia for doing their important research.
I think I'm agree with you. Most less the people who most less gain economically poor, I think, the academia. But I think the life is not only to get the money. It's about your existence. Many people just left the world, but they are alive. And in their lives, they don't have big money. Just like you can get the example of Marx. He was not a millionaire, but he was a philosopher. He has just given the philosophy. And even you can get the example of Abraham Lincoln. So why we remember him? Why we don't remember the Bush? Abraham Lincoln, Mr. Bush is just was the president of US, and Abraham Lincoln was also the president of US.
Because the Bush is not on
Abraham Lincoln just left the world, I think, more than 1,000 years. But the Bush recently, in I think 2000, only 20 or 15 years ago. But we remember that man. Why?
Because he is on the dollar bill, man. Or $5 probably, right?
Because he just has give the ideas. The people, the life, according to my perception, maybe some people think that the economy and to be wealthy is the purpose of life. But according to my ideas, the purpose of life is not to become a wealthy. Yes, you must have the quality life. You must have the things, essential things to living a life much better. But the thing is that how you are performing in your life, what you are doing for other people's development, other people's comfort, what other people's are gaining from you. If you are doing everything for yourself and you have much money, it's okay. You are the ordinary people. But if you have some kind of different ideas, you have some kind of different skills to perform your life for others, to make their life comfort life to others, I think you are the extraordinary people. And in the globe, there are billions of population, but only the people who are performing for the other people, I think they have the purpose of life. And we individually, we must have the purpose of life. Wealth is not purpose of life. It's the need of life. Okay, for your need, you must have wealth, you have money, you have everything. But purpose and other thing. Purpose is performance. What are you doing in your life? As you guys making this podcast, why? Maybe it's for money, but I think this is the cause.
For pussy money weed.
This is also the cause, and this is also the medium of one of the medium to get the ideas to the broad listening population. They listen and just get some ideas. They just get some experience. So this is the purpose. I think everyone should have this kind of purpose in their life. As we in the beginning, we were asking about how we transform, how we save our planet. So this is the thing with we can save our planet to make our purpose of life.
To make our planet great again.
Our planet is good. I think it's not worse, but just maintain it.
I think it's a great way. It's a very great way to wrap this podcast up. It was absolutely fabulous. We've covered so many things. With this, ending, I think we should ask people more about the meaning of their lives, and the message that they have, So it was insane, man. With this wise wisdom, I like it. Tarik, your word.
Yeah, thank you so much, Hemoon. I learned so much from listening to you about the history of language and culture and how it affects the government and how the government affects the society and all these connections. So thank you so much for your time.
Yeah. I'm also very thankful to you guys that you have given me this chance, and I'm very delighted and grateful to you. Thank you so much to bring me. And I also have learned many things from you and your ideas. And if I have made any mistakes, so I just apologize.
It's all right. We make mistakes all the time.
It's quite a good experience for me, especially.
Second time, right?
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Thank you so much. I'm again thankful to you people.
All right. Thank you for all our viewers. Thanks for watching.
Keep watching, guys. We're going to have lots more interesting discussions. Please like and subscribe. If you do that, you will see an even greater diversity of talks, All right, everybody. Thank you. See you later.